Hey, what's going on, guys? In today's video, we're going to be doing a tier list about every single card in Clash Royale's new game mode called Merge Tactics. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. We're going to be ranking these cards off 3 factors. Number 1 is going to be Elixir, with how much the card's going to cost in total. Number 2 is going to be Strength, how strong the card is by itself. And number 3 is going to be Synergy, what does it fit into and how good is it in that synergy as a whole. We're going to be starting out the list with archers here. Archers only cost 2 elixir, and I feel like they're a great unit early on, but I feel like they lose a lot of their value later into the game, with their synergy being clan and ranger. Both very strong synergies as of right now, but the unit by itself I feel like really just doesn't do enough, and it really does fall off later into the game, and that's why we're going to be placing it into the D tier. It only feels right to do the Barbarian right after we did the Archer, and I feel like the Barbarian holds his own a lot better in the late game than the Archer does. Also only costing 2 elixir, so he's great early game. Also with his synergy being clan, which is great endgame. The only other problem is his second synergy is brawler, which I feel like is not as good endgame, but he definitely holds his own a little bit better, and that's why we're going to be putting him into the C tier. Coming up very next on the list, we have the Spear Goblin, and if I'm going to be honest here, I feel like he is very bad. His synergies being Goblin and Thrower, which I feel like are some of the worst synergies in the game. Only costing 2 elixir, so it is viable early game if you do get him, but I feel like he really does not hold his own in the late game. It is really slow with his attacks. They do hit hard, but you'd have to get him up to 3 or even 4 star, and that's why we're going to be placing him in the bottom of D tier. Very next on our list here is going to be a complete change up. We're going to be having the Bandit. Now she costs 4 elixir, which is a little more on the expensive end obviously, but I think she is worth every single elixir point. Her synergies being Ace and Avenger, both very good. Avenger being my personal favorite out of those two, but I feel like she does great work. Her stun is absolutely insane. She will spam it if you get her to 2 stars or 3 stars, and she'll make short work of almost any single troop in the game as of now, and that's why she's going to be our very first S tier. Up next on the list is the Dark Goblin. Now I'm really torn between the Dark Goblin. I really want to like him, but then I really struggle to find a reason to. He does great work sometimes, but you really need to build around him for that to happen, and I just feel like it's not worth it in some scenarios. His synergy being Ranger and Goblin being awful towards the later end of the game, I feel, which kind of sucks. But when he does have the 3 stack for the Ranger buff, he is really strong, especially if you get him up to 2 or even 3 star. He will shoot out his projectiles at such a fast speed, it's absolutely insane. And he only costs 3 elixir, so it's really not too much of an investment, but I feel like he really could be better, so that's why we're going to be throwing him into the C tier. Up next on the list is the Executioner, and not to sound like a broken record, but I feel like the Executioner's okay early game, but then just falls off so hard late game. He comes in at 3 elixir, and his synergies are Thrower and Ace. Ace being pretty good if you need to get the second for the synergy, but other than that, I'm really not grabbing this guy because I feel like he just does not hold up well at all during the late game. And that's why he's going to be taking the very bottom spot of C tier. Up next on the list is the Giant Skeleton, and I'm going to be honest, I am not a fan of this card at all. It feels really only worth it if you get him to 3 stars, because then his bomb does an absurd amount of damage. But that is a really redeeming quality because it's a strategy all by itself just to get him to level 3, just because of that bomb damage. But him coming in at 3 elixir with his synergies being Brawler and Undead, I feel like he's just really not worth it unless you're strictly only building him, and that's why we're going to put him in the C tier. Up next is the Goblin Machine. He comes in at 4 elixir, and I feel like he is worth every single penny. He absolutely destroys when he is level 3 or even level 2, shooting out those missiles almost constantly. His synergies being Goblin and Juggernaut. Personally, not my favorite synergies. I feel like both of them are pretty weak. Juggernaut definitely being the better one of the two. But I feel like if you could get him to level 3, he is definitely a dangerous threat on the board. And that's why he's going to be taking our first A tier. Up next on the list is going to be the Goblin, and the Goblin comes in at 2 elixir with his synergies being Goblin and Assassin. I personally love this card. I think he's really good. Assassin is one of the best synergies in the game, I feel, right now. Plus, with him being 2 elixir, it's so easy to get him to 2, 3, even 4 star in almost every match if you're lucky enough. And him diving to the back line is just so valuable, and that's why he's going to be our first B tier. Up next on the list is going to be Golden Knight. He comes in at 5 elixir with his synergies being Assassin and Noble. This is one of my absolute favorite cards. I wouldn't put him as broken just because by himself he's not really that good, but his synergies are absolutely insane. Noble and Assassin being my 2 personal favorite synergies in the game as of now. It is so strong if you get him to 3 stars as well. That's why he's going to be put in the S tier, where I feel he rightfully belongs. If you guys are enjoying the video so far, please consider subscribing and leaving a like, and comment down below what you guys think. Do you like the video? Do you not like the video? Do you like the list? Not like the list? I'm always looking for improvement in these videos, and I love making them for you guys. But without further ado, let's get back to the list. Coming up next is going to be the Knight, and I think the Knight is a great card. It's really cheap. He only costs 2 elixir, and his synergies are Noble and Juggernaut, which are really good. I feel like Juggernaut's the weaker one. Noble being very, very strong, in my opinion, late game, especially with the Assassin combo we were just talking about. But that's why we're going to be placing him into the B tier. Up next on the list is Mega Knight, and I feel like the Mega Knight is a really, really good card. He comes in at 4 elixir, which is pretty expensive, but his jump ability to constantly stun is absolutely insane. His synergies being Ace and Brawler kind of sucks, not the strongest. Ace is quite nice, as I was saying earlier in the video, but I only go up to 2 personally. I think that's really where it is the best. I think 4 is too much of a commitment, but that's why we're going to be placing him in B tier. Coming up next on the list is going to be P.E.K.K.A, and P.E.K.K.A is one of my favorite cards in this new game mode. He is an absolute powerhouse. If you get him to 2 stars, even 3 stars, he is an absolute menace on the board. He comes in at 3 elixir, and for that price, I feel like it is worth every single elixir. He is so strong very early on and even in the late game, especially with his synergies being Ace and Juggernaut. Not the very best combo in the game, but it's definitely one of the better ones, and that's why he's going to be placed into the A tier. Up next on the list is going to be Prince, and Prince is a really 50-50 card, I feel. He's pretty good with his starting ability being able to charge and stun a unit, especially if it's a giant skeleton, getting him away from the front of your team. But coming in at 3 elixir is pretty steep for what I feel like he brings to the table. But his synergy being Noble and Brawler kind of saves him, especially in my opinion, because I do really like his Noble. I feel like Noble is still one of the best synergies in the game, and that's why he's going to be taking a spot in the B tier. Up next on the list is going to be the Princess. She comes in at 4 elixir, which feels pretty steep for what she does until you realize her synergy is Noble and Ranger. And if you complete both those synergies, she will sit in the back line and absolutely demolish the enemy team with absolutely no problems. And that's why we're going to throw her into the B tier. We only got 5 more remaining, guys, and up next on the list is the Royal Ghost. And there is a reason that there is a tier above the S tier, and it's called Broken. It was specifically made for this unit. This unit goes invisible so fast, even at tier 2, even at tier 1. He is an absolute insane unit. I don't doubt he will be getting nerfed very soon. Within the first update, I would not doubt it. But yes, he is 100%, in my opinion, one of the most busted cards, if not the most busted in the entire game. He only costs 4 elixir, and his synergies are Assassin and Undead. Undead kind of sucks, but the Assassin is absolutely an insane synergy for him to have. So that's why he is in the Broken tier. Up next on the list is the Skeleton King, and he comes in at 5 elixir with the synergy of Undead and Juggernaut, and I feel like this unit is absolutely not worth it. I've seen a lot of people say he's pretty good and use him a lot in the games I've been playing, but I think he's overhyped. I feel like other units do his job better, and for 5 elixir, it's just really not worth it, and that's why we're going to put him in the C tier. I hope I don't get too much flack for that. Up next on the list is the Valkyrie, and I feel like she is very strong for being only 3 elixir. Also with her synergy being Avenger and Clan, she's a very strong unit overall. Plus with her being able to have an AoE attack, she's one of my favorite counters to the Ghost, and that's why she's in the A tier where she rightfully belongs. Up next on the list, we have the Archer Queen. She's coming in at 5 elixir, and her synergies are Clan and Avenger. And in my opinion, she's absolutely broken right next to the Ghost. Not as bad in my opinion, but the fact that she goes invisible when she gets half HP, and with her synergies being so good with Avenger and Clan that she's able to heal and then deal extra damage if she's the last one alive, it's absolutely insane how good she is, and it's well deserved, and that's why she is in the broken tier along with the Ghost. And last but not least, we have the Bomber. Now, if I'm going to be honest, I think the Bomber is pretty shit. I don't think he's good at all. His only real good thing that he does is being able to counter the Ghost early on. Otherwise, for 2 elixir and his synergies being awful, undead, and thrower, I don't think he's a good unit. And I think we're actually just going to rename the very last tier to his very own. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. If you made it this far, comment down below, watermelon. I'd like to see how many of you made it this far. Also, leave a like, subscribe if you like this content and want more of it. I'm grinding this game as much as I can. I'm trying to get to the top of the leaderboard right now. If you see me live, pop in. We're always chilling, having a good time. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoy this quick blooper reel and enjoy the rest of your day. I feel like they fall off pretty heavy towards the later end of the game with their clan. Dude, why? It only feels right to do the Barbarian right after we do the Archer. It only feels right to do the Barbarian right after we did the Archer, and it feels like the... Dude, oh my...